Hey everyone, welcome back to Fish Den 365. I'm your host Den Haring, and today it's Topwater Tuesday. So we're going to be talking about the best topwater baits for bass, and today's category is poppers and chuggers. So we're going to go through a number of poppers and chuggers. I did the research out there. There's a ton of them out there. Tried to find the most popular ones. I think we have 21 poppers and chuggers. I'm going to name them for you and show you them here on the screen and give you the prices for each of these. And then we're going to talk about my 5 favorite of these, the ones that I have to have when I'm fishing. And then we're going to talk about a couple of honorable mentions for specific situations. And then I'm going to give you a popper that nobody's ever heard of, but I think is just as good as the top 5. Now, before we get started, I should mention there are other baits that are similar to poppers, but they're not in this category. I call them hybrids. The Lucky Craft Gunfish is a good example. It's meant to walk the dog, but it has a little bit of a concave mouth, so it spits and walks. But it's shaped more like a walker than a popper. And so there's a number of baits out there like that, and we're going to be doing those baits in the next Topwater Tuesday. All right, let's get started with the poppers. So a lot of them out there. I'm just going to start naming these for you. We'll read them off this list. So first is the Rebel Pop R and the Super Pop R. Both are around $8. We have the Megabass Pop X. That's around $18. The Megabass Pop Max, which is the larger cousin of the Pop X, is $20. The Yozuri 3DR-X Popper, that's $8. The Rapala Skitter Pop comes in at $10. The Arbogast Hula Popper, an oldie but a goodie, $8. The Booyah Bass Pop, $9. The Lubino Rico, one of the more expensive ones, at $25. And its larger cousin, the Lubino Rio Rico, $26. Yellow Magic, $17. The Lucky Craft G-Splash, $10 on eBay. I don't think this one's available anymore. The Storm Chug Bug, $10. The Berkeley Frenzy, $17. Got to go to eBay for that one. The old Head and Lucky 13, you can get that for about $20 on eBay. The Shimano World Pop goes for $20. The Strike King HC KVD Splash, $8. The Excalibur Z22 Zell Pop, no longer available. You're going to have to pay about $30 for that one on eBay. The Bass Pro Shops XPS Popper comes in at $6. The lowest one is the Jan's Netcraft RC Popper, a darn good popper too, for $2.20. I've caught plenty of fish on that one. Then we have the Snag Proof Zoo Pop for $9 and the Head and Poppin' Image for $8. Now, I'm sure there's a whole lot more poppers out there, so if I missed yours, if you've got some that I missed, feel free to comment and let me know. But I know there's a lot more than these 21s. Nearly every major fishing company has a popper that it sells. But I thought I'd name for you the ones that seem to be most popular and most common and yet catch fish based on the research that I did. All right, it's time to name my personal 5 favorite poppers. So this here is the Rebel Pop R. That's the bigger size. Here's a smaller size of the Rebel Pop R. But they also make this bait, the Super Pop R. And based on my experience, you can get rid of the Pop Rs. All you need is this. The Super Pop R is one of my favorites. It's always going to be in my box when I'm going popper fishing. And, you know, it's interesting now. We're in April. Today's the 15th. It's tax day. Where I fish in eastern Pennsylvania, the waters are still cold. 48 to 52 degrees is the average range. And, you know, so what's going to happen is the topwater bite is just going to get started. And poppers are one of the first best top waters you can throw when that water's warming up. So this is a timely topic. And I want to go over with you what I do with these Super Pop Rs. They're fine out of the package. You can catch plenty of fish out of the package with the mouth the way it's shaped like this. But I like to do some different modifications to make it do different things. So I'm going to show you a comparison of 3 of these. Hopefully I can hold these so that you can see the mouths and the differences on these mouths, and I'll call this out. So let's see if I can hold these 3 in a way that I can put my hand behind them so you can see. So take a look at the mouths on those baits. This one is the normal mouth, the way it comes. It pops and bloops just fine. This one, what I did is I shaved the bottom part. What that does is it creates more of a spitting motion. More water will spit forward when you shave the bottom lip down. Just flat, just a little bit flat. Makes a nice spitting bait. Then what I did with this one is I actually shaved the bottom and the top to make it less concave. And what this one does is it allows you to fish it much faster. You can skitter it across the surface. It's actually probably my favorite way to fish a pop bar. But all these different ways to fish, this one's a good way to fish it if you're fishing real slow and you just bloop it and let it sit. Sometimes that's what they want. If they want a spitting action, something that gives a little more commotion, I use this one where I shave the bottom lip. And if I want to fish it fast and skitter across the top, then I shave the top and bottom and make it less concave. Excellent bait. The reason the Pop R, Super Pop R is so good is because it's got that elongated body. It just works better in the water with that body shape. So that's the first 1 out of 5 with those modifications. Another one, and these are in no particular order. They're just the top 5 that I would have to have when I'm fishing. The next one is a very expensive Rico. This is the Lobina Rico. It's got really top quality components on it, and it just has the right concave mouth to work really good. It has a really good sound that it makes, and this thing, for whatever reason, it just catches fish. I don't know if it's the sound it makes, the way it looks, or all the above, but it catches fish. Now, it's expensive at $25, so for a popper you might not be willing to spend that. But if you want the best of the best, this is one that's right up there. I mean, if you want a popper that's reliable, and one thing about baits is that you can get 5 baits of the same kind and type, and they can be different from each other in small ways. That will not happen when you spend the higher money. So if you do spend $25 on this Lobina Rico, you can be sure you're going to be getting a bait that's going to work the right way every time. Number 3 on my list is this one here. It's the Shimano World Pop. It's got something called Flash Boost in there. You see that thing moving? I'm not moving my hand at all, but I'm sure that little mirror in there, there's a couple springs that hold that little foil piece in there, and it moves constantly. So even when this bait is sitting still, it gives the impression that it's live, that there's scales moving, that there's movement within the bait. And sometimes that really works. I've caught some really good fish on this bait. It's one of my favorites. I have to have it in the box. The next one is the Storm Chug Bug. This one is an oldie but a goodie. The nice thing about this is it chugs and spits really good, but you can walk it very easily as well. Some of these poppers walk easier than others. This one walks very, very easily, and it catches fish. And then my last, number 5, another one that walks really well is the Strike King HC KVD popper. This is a really nice popper. It doesn't break the bank at $8, but it works very well right out of the package. Now, that's my top 5, and you might have noticed a couple of things missing, right? Where's the Megabass Pop X and the Pop Max? Those are really good baits, and they're on the higher end of the expense column, $18 and $20 respectively. The reason why they're not in my top 5 is because I have so much money to spend, and I will spend high money for the right kind of baits, but I can't do it across the board. I have to pick the baits that I think are the best. And the reason why they're not on the list is because I would rather take that $20 and add $5 to it and get this Lobina Rico. It's just a really good popper. It catches fish. There's a lot of people that are Rico users that will attest to the effectiveness of this bait, and so that's why as the expensive side, I picked this one, and same on the expensive side, I picked this one because the Shimano has that Flash Boost technology in there, and that just makes it unique and a little bit better than the Megabass poppers, in my opinion. All right, 2 honorable mention poppers that are very, very good that I like a lot and caught a lot of fish on. The first one is the Berkeley Frenzy. This one's not made anymore. You can get it on eBay for about $17 or so. A very effective popper. It has a little bit of a different shape to it. It walks nicely. It just does all the right things, and it does catch fish. And then another one, they don't make this one anymore. I bought this one when it wasn't so expensive. This is the Excalibur XZ2 Zell Pop. I think it was designed by Zell Rowland, who's a popper and topwater expert. I think this thing goes for like $30 now on eBay. So it's a bit expensive, but it is a very good popper and catches a lot of fish. So there's one other one that I want to mention as honorable mention for special situations, and it's this one right here. This is the Snag Proof Zoo Pop. This one is a soft body popper, and it's like a frog. It's got the hook arrangement the way you would have a topwater frog. It's very soft. It's got a unique tail. There's no hook back there, but the tail is feathered. I like this bone color a lot. I've done very well with this last year fishing it at Nakamixon. A great bait to throw if you still want a popper type bait and you have a lot of emergent vegetation, lily pads, milfoil, coontail, that kind of stuff. This popper will come through all that. You can still get that pop. It's got the nice concave mouth for spitting and popping, but you can throw it in that cover and it makes it a very unique popper, and it's one of the reasons why it's on my list. If I'm fishing a popper where there's cover and a lot of vegetation that's on the surface, I gotta have this one. And now for the popper that no one's heard about, but that I found is quite good. This is the Bill Lewis Spitfire. And this thing, it's got a very, very unique mouth on it. Hopefully you can see that. It's just a crazy mouth configuration. And it's like, what is this? You know, and I came upon this bait because I was fishing topwater stripers, and I've mentioned it on my channel, and somebody asked if I've ever tried the Spitfire. And I didn't. But when he told me this, I thought about, well, I'll have to try it. And then some months, maybe even a year went by, and he reminded me about it again. And I thought, okay, I got to take this opportunity. So I bought a few. You got to get these on eBay. But they don't cost very much there. I think you can get them for about $8. And I did experiment with this. This was a few years ago now. And it's really good for working fast. This is how I like to fish this particular popper, when you want to really skitter it across the top. It just makes a great commotion pushing water forward. It has a really good sound to it, and it just has a really good lively look to it in the water. When you zoom it further, you know what I'm doing is I'm just using that rod to twitch it forward very fast, and then I stop, and then I catch up to it with the line and hold it there, and then I move it again. And when you move that, it looks like a bait fish trying to escape on the surface. And I caught some nice bass using this bait. So it's one of the ones that will end up in my box if I know I'm going to be fishing that way. In other words, if I want to fish a popper quite fast where the bait fish are being chased, this is a good one to choose. This is the Bill Lewis Spitfire. Well, I hope you found the video interesting and informative. I'd love to hear what your favorite poppers are for bass fishing. So please comment in the comments below. Let me know which is yours. Did I miss any? You know, a lot of people like that Yellow Magic. That's another really good popper. It's right up there with it competes really well with the Lobina Rico. I think that one's in the $17 or $18 range, something like that. So if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see last week's video on topwaters, where we took a look at the walk the dog type topwaters, take a look at this one right here. Until next time, be safe out there. Hope to see you on the water. And as always, may God bless your fishing endeavors.